Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Virtual Storytime. Now hang on, before I do my proper intro, we're doing a little unicorn experimentation with the lighting in here. Today, the lighting, the positioning, I suppose my face is okay, but let me see what happens when I try to show you. See, what I'm trying to avoid, my dear viewers, is this thing where showing you the book makes me so dark that it is as if I am speaking to you from a very spooky sort of a place. Now, I am glad to note that the reflections on the ebook right now from my lamps are minimal, so the real trick is just going to be, kitties, excuse you, it's just going to be seeing whether I can lower the light in here in such a way that, hello, you can see my lovely unicorn face here to read to you, but can you also see still does that weird thing when I show you the ebook. Now, what if I were to go like this? Satisfactory at best, I've got to say. Not really what we're looking for in a perfect world. Now, granted, the world is not perfect. Unicorns are innovators. They are a resourceful crew who will always make the most of what they have. I think this is an okay compromise for now, especially as we are not reading anything on the e-reader this afternoon. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep playing with it. Hopefully, when we come back tomorrow morning for morning story time, I will have just unprecedentedly professional lighting, and you will all be amazed. With that, however, it is time to get away from the technical and get into the fictional. Welcome back to Virtual Storytime from the Newark Public Library. As always, we are recording this live story stream on land that rightfully belongs to the Lenape Indian tribe. And if you, dear viewers, are tuning in from anywhere in our fair city of Newark, New Jersey, it is likely that you are on land that rightfully belongs to that Indian tribe as well. Just by way of experiment, I'm going to turn on the big light in my room before I introduce myself. Just put my best light forward. Many of you already know me. Thanks for bearing with. Oh, well, face-wise at least, that is much better. I don't really know what impact it will have on the reading of ebooks, and I'm simply going to have to find out now. This might just be our best bet. We'll see. In any event, I am delighted to be here as your host. I am Mix Allie. That's Mix, just like mixing bowl, not to be confused with Ms., Miss, Mr., or Mrs., because as you can see, I am not a boy, nor am I a girl. I am a non-binary unicorn. And so is... This is better too. The fidgeting will continue until lighting improves. Please welcome back my storytelling companion, a boy unicorn, the one, the only, Jonathan Van Unicorn. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Virtual Storytime. Oh, it's wonderful to see every single one of you. It's great to see you too, Jonathan. How is your Taco Tuesday going? Oh, it's been quite splendid. I simply gorged myself on tacos at lunchtime today. Yeah? Well, are you ready to relax and listen to some afternoon stories now? Oh, I am indeed. What are we reading today, McSally? I'm so glad you asked that, Jonathan. We are going to read some more of our chapter book, Peter Pan. By the end of the week, we'll have finished that book, which is really exciting. And after that, Jonathan, I was hoping that you would join me in leading one of our famous unicorn dance parties. How does that sound to you? Oh, that sounds most appropriate. I like that idea quite a lot. I'm so glad to hear that, Jonathan. Hey, we've been talking a lot about ways that you can make sure that you're feeling calm and relaxed and brave in the face of fear and worry and anxiety. If anyone who is watching now, Jonathan, is having a day where they feel a little sad or scared or even just really busy, what's something you would recommend to them so that they can feel calmer and braver and more secure while they enjoy some stories, and then hopefully they'll be ready to just go and take on the world? Oh, I know a great technique for that. It's breathing in and out. All right, Jonathan. Why don't you lead us in that one? We'll all do it together. Oh, certainly. All right. So we'll do 5 breaths today, and I'll start by showing you how it's going to go. First, you breathe in, and then you hold that breath. And then you release it. Let's do 4 more of those together. 1. And last one. Here we go. In. And out. I am ready to listen to a story now, McSally. All right, Jonathan. Thanks so much for your help. I hope that everyone else is ready for that as well. All right. Why don't you take a seat? Yes, yes, yes. Jonathan will join us again for a unicorn dance party at the end of the show. And meanwhile, let's pick up where we left off yesterday with Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. Now, you may recall that the children in this story, the Lost Boys, Michael and John and Wendy, they were in a tricky position. They had been captured by pirates. Captain Hook is just about to deliver some threatening words to them. But we already know that although Captain Hook thinks that he has already outsmarted Peter Pan, Peter Pan is on his way to save Wendy and the Lost Boys right now. Let's hear how things shake out. The wretched prisoners were dragged from the hold, all except Wendy, and arranged in a line in front of Captain Hook. For a time, he seemed unconscious of their presence. He lolled at his ease, humming, not unmelodiously, snatches of a rude song, and fingering a pack of cards. Ever and anon, the light from his cigar gave a touch of color to his face. Excuse me just a moment. The reason for all this lighting drama today is that I've been working on finding ways that are more comfortable for me to be sitting when I'm reading you stories. I love it when I can help you all get really cozy before story time, and I've realized that I have not always been doing myself the same courtesy, so I'm trying to be better. All right, comfortable in my desk chair now. Now then, bullies, Captain Hook said briskly. 6 of you walk the plank tonight, but I have room for 2 cabin boys on my ship. Which of you is it to be? Don't irritate him unnecessarily, had been Wendy's instructions in the hold. So Toodles stepped forward politely. Toodles hated the idea of signing under such a man as Captain Hook, but an instinct told him that it would be prudent to lay the responsibility on an absent person. And though a somewhat silly boy, he knew that mothers alone are always willing to be the buffer. All children know this about mothers, and despise them for it, but make constant use of it. So Toodles explained prudently, You see, sir, I don't think my mother would like me to be a pirate. Would your mother like you to be a pirate, Slightly? He winked it Slightly, who said mournfully, I don't think so, as if he wished things had been otherwise. He didn't really, though. None of the Lost Boys want to be pirates because they don't like the pirates. Would your mother like you to be a pirate, Twin? I don't think so, said the first twin, as clever as the others. Nibs would... Stow this gab, roared Hook, and the spokesmen were dragged back. You, boy, he said, addressing John. You look as if you had a little pluck in you. Didst never want to be a pirate, me hearty? Now John had sometimes experienced this hankering at maths prep, and he was struck by Hook picking him out. I once thought of calling myself Red-Handed Jack, he said diffidently. And a good name, too. We'll call you that here, bully, if you join. What do you think, Michael? Said John. What would you call me if I join? Michael demanded. Blackbeard Joe. Michael was naturally impressed. What do you think, John? He wanted John to decide, and John wanted him to decide. Shall we still be respectful subjects of the king? John inquired. Through Hook's teeth came the answer. You would have to swear down with the king. Perhaps John had not behaved very well so far, but he shone out now. Then I refuse, he cried, banging the barrel in front of Hook. And I refuse, cried Michael. Rule Britannia, squeaked Curly. The infuriated pirates buffeted them in the mouth, and Hook roared out, That seals your doom. Bring up their mother and get the plank ready. They were only boys, and they went white as they saw Jukes and Checo preparing the fatal plank. But they tried to look brave when Wendy was brought up. No words of mine can tell you how Wendy despised those pirates. To the boys, there was at least some glamour in the pirate calling, but all that she saw was that the ship had not been tidied for years. There was not a portal on the grimy glass of which you might not have written with your finger, Dirty Pig, as she had already written that on several. Oh, Wendy is mad at those pirates. You can tell because she does not usually call people names. But as the boys gathered round her, she had no thought, of course, save for them. So, my beauty, said Hook, as if he spoke in syrup, you are to see your children walk the plank. Fine gentleman though Captain Hook was, the intensity of his communings had soiled his ruff, and hastily, he knew that she was gazing at it. With a hasty gesture, he tried to hide it, but he was too late. "Are they to die?" asked Wendy, with a look of such frightful contempt that Hook nearly fainted. "They are," he said. "Silence all," he called gloatingly, for a mother's last words to her children. At this moment, Wendy was grand. "These are my last words, dear boys," she said firmly. "I feel that I have a message to you from your real mothers, and it is this. We hope our sons will die like English gentlemen." Even the pirates were awed, and Toodles cried out hysterically, "I am going to do what my mother hopes. What are you to do, Nibs?" "What my mother hopes." "What are you to do, Twim?" "What my mother hopes." "John, what are—" But Hook had found his voice again. "Tie her up!" he shouted. It was Smee who tied Wendy to the mast. "See here, honey," he whispered, "I'll save you if you promise to be my mother." But not even for Smee would Wendy make such a promise. "I would almost rather have no children at all," she said disdainfully. It is sad to know that not a boy was looking at her as Smee tied her to the mast. That last little walk they were about to take, they were no longer able to hope that they would walk it manfully, for the capacity to think had gone from them. They could stare and shiver only. Hook smiled on them with his teeth closed and took a step toward Wendy. His intention was to turn her face so that she should see the boys walking the plank one by one. But he never reached her. He never heard the cry of anguish he expected to wring from her. He heard something else instead, and it was the tick-tock, tick of the crocodile. They all heard it, pirates, boys, Wendy. And immediately every head was blown in one direction, not to the water whence the sound proceeded, but toward Captain Hook. All knew that what was about to happen concerned him alone, and that from being actors they were suddenly become spectators. Very frightful was it to see the change that came over him. It was as if he had been clipped at every joint. He fell in a little heap. The sound came steadily nearer. In advance of it came the ghastly thought, "The crocodile is about to board the ship!" Even Hook's iron claw hung inactive, as if knowing that it was no intrinsic part of what the attacking force wanted. Because the crocodile wants to eat Captain Hook. He doesn't want to eat his hook. He wants to eat his body. That's why the crocodile and Hook do not get along. Left so fearfully alone, any other man would have lain with his eyes shut where he fell. But the gigantic brain of Hook was still working, and under its guidance he crawled on his knees along the deck as far from the sound as he could go. The pirates respectfully cleared a passage for him, and it was only when he brought up against the bulwarks that he spoke. "Hide me!" he cried hoarsely. Captain Hook was being so mean and threatening, but now he's afraid. They gathered round him, all eyes averted from the thing that was coming aboard. Only when Hook was hidden from them did curiosity loosen the limbs of the boys so that they could rush to the side of the ship and see the crocodile climbing it. Then they got the strangest surprise on this night of nights, for it was no crocodile that was coming to their aid. Can you guess who it was? It was Peter Pan. He signed to them not to give vent to any cry of admiration that might arouse suspicion, and then,